everyone, and welcome you all to day one of Great Amrita Alumni Conclave on Industry 4.0 Opportunities and Challenges with our 2002 alumnus Lieutenant Colonel Korath V. Mathew, who is a digital transformation specialist and an IT leader with a proven track record of synergizing technology and business to design and implement ICT projects. We are really honored to have you on board, sir. Amrita School of Business is here to allow you to hear from our alumni on what the industry has for you upon pursuing an MBA. You can use this opportunity to interact with them and you will see what it's really about, meeting other passionate and engaged people who willingly share their experiences and perspectives. An MBA program is a significant investment, and so you have to make sure that you get the full return. Connecting with alumni before choosing an B school is very important, as it is hugely important resource that deserves consideration. Now, without further ado, I would like to welcome Professor Kishore Gopalakrishna Pillai, Dean, Amrita School of Business, Coimbatore and Bangalore, to give the opening plenary and speak a few words.
Thank you, Nija. Let me say a few words about the school. Founded in 1996, Amrita School of Business is a top private business school in South India. We have a well-known, very established MBA program with many well-placed alumni around the world and a flourishing PhD program. The school gained the coveted ASB accreditation in 2019 for both the MBA and PhD programs. The school has been doing well in recent years. Our research performance and the quality of our intellectual output have been among the best in the country. We've been able to recruit world-class faculty. Our recent placements of MBA students, the ongoing placements, have been one of the best in recent years, and I'm sure you will hear more about our successes in the near future. Our alumni play a vital role in the progress of the school. There are several contributions, both direct and indirect, help shape the future of the school. In this alumni conclave, our objective is to draw upon the considerable expertise and knowledge of our alumni to throw light upon some pertinent issues with that merit an in-depth examination, which will be of interest to the public at large. We have arranged 5 talks in this series, of which this is the first, and more are being planned. I would like to welcome Mr. Korath Mathew. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Korath Mathew, one of our distinguished alumni. Mr. Mathew had a successful career in the Indian Army, and since his retirement from the Army, has been active as a senior professional holding important positions. His recent contributions towards the development of smart cities in both in India and Africa are especially noteworthy given their focus on sustainability. We greatly appreciate Mr. Mathew's close association and invaluable contributions to the school. Finally, a warm welcome to all of you to this series. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Mathew.
Thank you, Dr. Pillai, and thank you, Nija and the team who's organizing this. And I welcome every participant who's seeing this presentation and interaction. I hope you benefit from this. And if there are any questions at the end of it, I'll be very happy to take this. So my topic today is Industry 4.0 Opportunities and Challenges. I shall be covering the following topics: industry revolutions over the years, impact of Industry 4.0, sustainable development model, India-specific technologies, and opportunities for India. As we see, the first industrial revolution started in 1765 with the invention of steam engine, and that's when mechanization actually started. The second revolution of 1870 when electricity and mass production started, and the third revolution started somewhere in 1969 with invention of computers leading to information technology and automation. The fourth industrial revolution is the current one, and it is about use of disruptive technologies, especially blockchain, 5G, Internet of Things, 3D printing, robotics, immersive technologies, artificial intelligence, and are changing the way we live and work. Something very important is that as far as India is concerned, we missed the first and the second revolution because we were under the British rule at that time. As far as the third revolution is concerned, we were very lucky that by then our institutions had developed some of the state-of-the-art technologies, and our people were very well educated and led by TCS and Infosys, Wipro, HCL, and many big and small companies. India emerged as a software powerhouse in the world, second only to US. And India continues to forge ahead in the knowledge industry. With the right kind of support and leadership, India can emerge as the leader in the knowledge industry in the current revolution. Now, India has, as you know, the maximum number of CMM level 5 companies in the world today. However, India does lack in the hardware technology, and again, with the right leadership, it is certainly possible to catch up and be the leader here too. Now, one should understand that advent of technology is absolutely inevitable. There are extraordinary technologies like blockchain, 5G, robotics, immersive technologies, artificial intelligence, big data, and these are actually changing the way we interact and work. These technologies have made it possible to increase productivity and transform the way we work. But something very interesting of late is the low Earth, which I want to put, the low Earth orbit satellite communication technology. This is set to revolutionize communication technology completely. What's important is that the latency is very low, something to the tune of 4 milliseconds, and the data rate is very high at almost 100, 150, and even 200 Mbps connectivity is noted. So in comparison to geostationary satellite, we are using it right now, which is 36,000 kilometers away from the surface of Earth. These LEO SATCOM are around 300 to 400 kilometers. And that is one of the reasons why the speeds are heavy, the speeds are good, and the latency is very low. And it's also noted that the speeds are even higher than what we get through FTTH at home. You would have noticed that you may get around 10 Mbps, though they claim very high speeds. Though the Starlink speed is extremely high, and at just rupees $700, so let's say less than 8,000 per month, and we can also connect multiple users using the transceivers. And therefore, you can actually divide the connectivity, and the costs are comparable with the broadband which is at home. And this is something very interesting, and it's quite possible that 5G will probably, the next generation would be LEO SATCOM based technology. And the best part is that it's available in the land, over the seas, and across the skies, practically ubiquitous. Close in the wake of this, Tesla is also launching something known as the Model Pi phone. Now, this is going to get connected. So over a period of time, these phones will use a Starlink satellite and are SIM-less. So a satellite-based global mobile network is likely to take over, and mobile communication will be a globalized affair because you can connect from anywhere in the world and you can move from one country to other, provided there are restrictions. And when do you take off these restrictions? When you are in crisis, and you've seen this crisis in Ukraine, and quickly they have moved in with their dishes, and it is working. It's moved from the beta version, it's going live. So any country who wants to use this can certainly utilize this. So what is the impact of this Industry 4.0? So let's look at economy in general. It will be hugely impacted. More will be available at low price because the technology, the production is reducing with automation, and but at the same time, there is going to be secular stagnation. There are multiple reasons for that. more infrastructure may not really bring in great GDP growth. This is all predicted, and it is an authentic document by Klaus Schwab in his great book, Fourth Industrial Revolution. GDP growth will decline to around 2%, primarily because of aging world. You would know that the Western countries and even in Japan, this average age is hovering around 40 to 50 years. Fortunately, in India, we would see a demographic advantage with our average age of Indians at 28.4, and there is a demographic advantage and faster growth possible if we put in the right systems. In fact, India had registered 8% plus minus growth in the previous years, and that is certainly possible. Our adversary, China, average age is 38, and so again 10 years older than Indians. Well, both for India and China, and especially for India in the knowledge industry, there is a great deal of hope if we have put the right leadership, if we have the right leadership and put the right system. Now, as far as employment is concerned, there is no doubt that automation will substitute labor and many jobs will be displaced rather. And those people can certainly retrain to get new jobs. From the past, we can see that advent of technology has not reduced the number of jobs. It's increased productivity and efficiency, and therefore the costs have come down. People are consuming more, manufacturing more, and the jobs are certainly increasing. As you see, automation is there in agriculture too. In the United States, the number of people, the percentage of people employed in agriculture was 90% in 1920 and is down to 2%. And that's a kind of automation that has taken place. So people sitting in the comfort of the house, you can monitor everything. Drones will spray the pesticides and probably the fertilizers, the artificial intelligence and big data analysis will ensure that your plants are watered in the correct time. Harvesting is also automated. So this yielded great deal of increase in productivity and efficiency, and therefore the cost of production is reduced and they're able to sell better. On the contrary, in India, 60% of the people are still in agriculture. Another interesting thing is the app economy will overtake the movie industry, not just the movie industry, including the TV. In fact, most of this OTT are actually apps. From the morning till evening, you are glued to your mobiles and your mobile app. So less and less people will go to, and the movie industry will be certainly far inferior to the app economy. High income cognitive jobs will grow. This goes without saying, and that is where the real industry growth is going to take place in the knowledge industry. Major trends, again, prominence of algorithm goes without doubt. While certain part of IT, the lower level, the code generation of codes may be automated, but the high level algorithm design architecture, especially in the data sciences, will be very prominent. Complex problem solving will be in demand. There will be huge amount of crowdsourcing. We just create platforms and the information simply flow. The best example is Google Map, It practically every aspect of routing which takes place is crowdsourced. Outsourcing will again be, companies will focus on the niche solutions, and to ensure that opportunity costs are reduced, they will have to outsource. Even in the IT industry, there are many different kinds of jobs. It is not possible to specialize in all of them. And at the same time, there are some companies who goes on to specialize. The concept of human cloud, they focus on niche solutions. And let's say if you want something to be done through artificial intelligence or big data analysis. There are solutions available in the form of software as a service, and you just provide your data, and of course the security aspects do have to be taken care of, and it will probably analyze and give you, in case you want to develop such huge systems. Most of the AI systems are available on a software as a service model today. Fusion of man and machine in the workplace, cobots will be there, and automate these days. Even automation narratives can be automated. There will be story writing and things like that done by robots and AI systems. Job security will certainly be declining. There will be gone are the days when you join a particular company and retire from the company after 40 years. You hear this in the Japanese companies where it is like a marriage. You go and join Toyota or any company. It's like a full-time, full life commitment. Such kinds may not be may not happen in the present industrial revolutions, because technologies are changing, and if you're working in a particular technology and if it becomes obsolete, there is no reason one should continue, and this unpredictability which is happening will certainly affect your work-life balance. Now, these are the jobs which are going to be at risk. So the telemarketers, tax preparers, insurance umpires, because you're already seeing it in most of the games, legal secretaries, whatever can be automated, whatever that is clerical will all be automated. Hosts and hostesses, restaurant, you already have today robots doing the waiter's job, real estate brokers, you have platforms which facilitate the magic bricks of that kind. Farm labor contractors, of course, like I said, only 2% are in the agriculture in USA, most of it is mechanized. Secretaries and administrative assistants, couriers and messengers. What will prevail is these are the ones where you require intelligence, brain power, your mental health and substance abuse, social, with this kind, where you can't predict. Choreographers, physicians and surgeons, psychologists, human resource managers, computer system analysts, anthropologists and archaeologists, marine engineers, sales managers, of course, that's a very creative job, chief executives, and there are many more. This is not limited to this, and it is continuously evolving. See, the whole customer approach will change. There are no more segmentation or approximation today. The big data analysis picks up the data accurately from every resource. Data is, as you know, is the new oil, and this will prevail. Data will be a necessity with or without your knowledge. It's already happening. And this is going to ensure that you have a customer-centric approach today, and there will be granular insights of customers. This all happening without your knowledge, and companies will deliver things in real time. You have recently seen the impact of the Swiggy, I think Swiggy Instamart, and how it is changed the game as far as the big basket is concerned. They've started delivering 30 to 40 minutes, and sales through mobile transactions are going to be the predominant. Less and less of people will be utilizing and the computer terminal, but most will be using the mobile. Data-driven approach, proactive maintenance, sensor predicts maintenance schedules, predict performance of assets. There are new models in the form of, let's say, everything will be as a service. Here you have, let's say, tires as a service or car as a service. You have Zoom, which is providing you car as a service. You can take a BMW and use it and attend a marriage. At the same time, you want to go to a city, you can take a small car, probably an Alto, and drive through. So you don't have to own a car. It is not, earlier it used to be software as a service. Now everything is coming as a service. You pay as you use, and there is optimization of assets there. New digital operating models will come with all the technologies. advent of these technologies, the operating model and the business models are also changing drastically. 14 out of the top 30 are platform oriented. You know very well, Amazon, Facebook, Google, etc. Combining physical, digital, and biological. It's all a combination of everything which is going to be working together these days. There will be neural networks. The Uber models will be plenty, and that's a way how you optimize your assets, max demand and supply, uh, peer-to-peer transactions. There will be prosumers. Blockchain. It's just it is just at the touching tipping at the start of it at this point of time. Non-fungible tokens, metaverse, and the blockchain-based technology is really going to take over. As you know, the market capitalization of cryptocurrencies is already overtaking the total GDP of India at this point of time. It's touching well above 3 trillion. Healthcare and wearable devices, always evolving technologies, and there will be democratization of information. You know, recently as a public digital good, we have launched as part of the India stack something known as account aggregator, and where the information of everybody's transactions is helping the small businesses to obtain loans. So greater asset utilization, these are our new digital operating models. Metaverse is going to really change. It's accelerated by the pandemic. We all had to go through different places, but sitting in the comfort of the home, we did everything through video conferencing. And today we can manage everything through video conferencing. Imagine a situation when your avatar, your digital duplicate, is traveling into another place and exploring everything. Let's say you want to see pyramids of Egypt, your avatar would be seeing, and the person who are physically present will also experience the same as your avatar. Well, you will not be physically, there can't be any physical damage because only your avatar will be there. But then you could be mentally heckled. There have been cases too, and that kind of emotional attack or a mental harassment is all possible. This is all happening, and many companies in India are working on this. Infosys is one supposed to be working on a metaverse library, and I'm sure many other companies also working because we are leading in the knowledge industry. Cobots would be there. You'll be working with the robots or robo-assisted. This is going to be a paradigm shift. Will you tolerate a robo as the boss? Now, this is going to be happening today because Sophia has already got a citizenship. Probably they may employ her on a particular job too. So these are something which is going to be part and parcel of the new industrial revolution. Cyber security challenges goes without saying. The Colonial Pipeline attack by a ransomware. So we still can't trace where the rogue country who actually kept this company protected. But it's also true that the damage which was done was colossal, literally closed the pipeline on the eastern side of the United States, and they asked for the ransom payments in Bitcoin. Fortunately, the payments could be blocked because Bitcoin, which is working on blockchain, obviously can be traced to the extent that every transaction on the cryptocurrency is documented on the blockchain. So contrary to belief, it is not black currency, it is all accountable currencies, though it's working in the Bitcoin. So what I'm trying to say is that cybersecurity challenges are going to be a major hurdle going forward, and nations and companies, corporates have to brace itself with adequate protection. Unsustainable development. Over the technological development, we have created a lot of waste. It is not just plastic waste, which is to the tune of 1 million tons and probably increasing, but there are fossil fuel burning, which is throwing up huge amount of carbon dioxide pollution and other pollutions. The industrial waste is phenomenal. There are waste from the households. So waste management is a major challenge, and it is all polluting the world and polluting the environment. Another challenge of the industrial revolution is that the global distribution of wealth is extremely skewed. The bottom 99.9% is only having 19% of the wealth, global wealth, whereas the top 0.001% with 16.7 trillion have 30%. And these are challenges which the nations have to deal, the world has to deal with. It's true that the top 10 people, we all thought that the pandemic is affected us, but it's not really so for many people. The top 10 world, they practically doubled their fortunes during the pandemic. So while the bottom suffered, the top did benefit from the pandemic. So because of all these reasons, the philosophers say, will humanity survive the 21st century? Philosopher Martin Rees predicts a bumpy ride. And Dr. Yuval Noah Harari has predicted there are the three existential challenges, which are nuclear, ecological collapse, and technological restriction. But he says that the technology is humanity's biggest challenge. We will understand this as you move forward. The technology is humanity's biggest challenge today. Technology has changed everything by creating a set of global existential threats that no nation can solve on its own. So globalization and global cooperation is therefore a necessity. The biggest danger is not the virus itself. The real problem is our own inner demons, our own hatred and greed and ignorance. And what is in the challenges? The sustainable development is a key, is that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. Now, in this case, can we meet our sustainable development goals? All 17 of them are important because there are social challenges, there are economic challenges and environmental challenges. To do a tightrope walking is very challenging, and that is where global cooperation is required, because the rat race says you just do whatever you feel like to ensure that there is profit for the company. Business goals and sustainable development goals really don't match. Your business goal is to maximize your output with minimum efforts and resources and justifies the means. That's the way the world has been functioning so far. But that's not true from now onwards. If you want to see our generation, the next generation, a brighter future, and therefore you have to align your business goals with sustainable development goals. And look at this. See, what is the automation fallout in India? See, it is predicted that 50 to 69% of the repetitive predictive roles are at risk. Sectors getting affected, IT here is the code level generations, but financial services, manufacturing, transportation, even agriculture get extent will certainly get automated. 9% of the workforce will be deployed on new jobs that do not exist today. 37% will be deployed in jobs that have radically changed skill sets. 54% will fall under the unchanged jobs category. And 49% of the companies have implemented AI solutions in their business and are reaping productivity and benefits. At the same time, if you see, the number of jobs in the IT industry have been constantly increasing. So we're pretty sure that this industrial revolution in the knowledge industry, there will be considerable employment as far as India is concerned. Now, there are some path-breaking technologies in India today. So Indian technologies, there are something known as digital public goods. Now, what are these digital public goods? I will take the example of Aadhaar in the first place. Aadhaar is a digital ID, a unique ID for every Indian citizen. Based on biometrics, you can verify it online from anywhere in the world, anytime. It is 99.99% accurate, and it is also a financial address. Today, the direct benefit transfer is using Aadhaar as a financial address, and there are almost 1.2 billion transactions where somebody is getting a SIM, somebody is getting his ration, somebody is getting a SIM, somebody is getting an insurance cover, somebody is doing a digital signature. There is eKYC, bank account being opened, PAN registrations, lot of things which is happening on Aadhaar platform, and it is 1.2 billion almost every month. So that's a kind of service which is being provided to them. At the same time, we've also created the unified payment interface, which is doing over 5 billion transactions. Almost everybody uses UPI for the financial transaction. Unlike the wallets, which is a closed loop, UPI is state of the art, and it's absolutely unparalleled in the world. Both Aadhaar and UPI are absolutely unparalleled in the world. It's an open system where the transaction is from bank to bank. There are many more, like the CoWIN application is again a digital public good. It's facilitated the largest vaccination drive in the world. There is IMPS is there, the GEM portal is there, and then you have Aadhaar enabled payment system, Aadhaar payment bridge, then Indian digitization online services, many other digital public good which is created, and we in the business especially are not using these digital public goods which are there in India today, and we tend to ignore them purely for because of there are reasons which our business books don't teach you that. They are all focused towards the Western side, and therefore these are not taught in the textbooks, but at the same time, the new business leaders, the MBA students, should focus on Indian digital public goods. Look at the Bharat bill payment system. It's such a fantastic system. They've created, the National Payment Corporation of India has created a pipe where all payment gateways are attached. So let's say a state electricity board wants to utilize unified payment interface, credit cards, internet banking, or wallet like Paytm, etc. All that is required is that you just log on to the Bharat bill payment system. You just connect to the Bharat bill payment system. Earlier, they had to integrate with all of them separately. But now, National Payment Corporation of India has created a platform rather, where you can integrate any services to any payment gateway. One of the recent inventions or innovations is the open network for digital commerce. We have today things like the Amazon platform, or platforms like the Flipkart, or things like the Reliance Digital, where you can buy and sell. Imagine if your Kirana store owner can be connected to an open network for digital commerce, and this digital public good has also been created so that we don't have to worry about the multinational companies, and we can utilize this network. This is going to be a game changer. It has got the government support, it has got a huge market, and it's got the best of minds who's working on it. So government hopes to replicate. So this is how it is going to be. So let's say here you have consumer one. So you have a separate app for, let's say, buying from the Amazon, or from, let's say, Reliance, or from, let's say, Flipkart. But now all of them are going to be connected on the single platform, open network for digital commerce. So with this, I have come to the end of my presentation, and I will now open myself to any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Korath. It was a very interesting and insightful presentation. Let me just start with a few questions before we open the forum to public. So what are the skills that young people will need to be successful in tomorrow's workplace?
Yeah, that is a very tough and challenging question. So Industry 4.0 is multiple challenges. At the same time, it is giving a lot of opportunities. The new technologies, as I said before, new technologies have always opened new avenues. So the jobs kept changing, but at the same time, there are going to be more jobs. In fact, the World Economic Forum has even predicted that 50% jobs will be lost, but 75% jobs will be created. So overall, there is an increase going to be of 25% job. So one has to be constantly, but at the same time, I had mentioned during the presentation that gone are the days when you get into a company and retire after 40 years. The jobs are going to change, the technology is going to change, and like Dr. Narayana Murthy had mentioned, don't fall in love with the company, fall in love with your job and continue with the job. So you have to retrain, you have to remain relevant. There will be more opportunities, and remain competent, and keep reskilling yourself. That is it.
Okay, those are quite Christian words. Okay, now how should educational institutions adapt themselves to meet the challenges arising from disruption? You talked about technological disruption quite a lot. So what should educational institutions do in this context?
So the education institutions have got a greater role in preparing the students for technological disruptions. This is mainly because students are really not unaware. Students are really unaware of the technological challenges, and I'm sure Amrita does prepare our students for and give them a great deal of insight into the new technology. And therefore, it's also incumbent on the academic institution to constantly upgrade its curriculum, because you can't be stuck with the old curriculum. The challenges of academic institution does not end there, because as at the end of the day, the academic institutions also have got a responsibility to the nation and to the humanity in general, and therefore they have to be constantly be aware of the sustainable development model. Now, as far as Amrita is concerned, in its vision, you have, we utilize knowledge for societal benefit and contribute to prosperous and sustainable future for all. So multiple responsibilities for the education institution: change the curriculum, be aware of the sustainable development, and at the same time prepare the students to.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Okay. Now I would like to ask something more specific. You mentioned the prominence of algorithms in one of your slides. So these days, there's a lot of talk about algorithmic management. So could you please throw some light on the effects of algorithmic management in organizations?
Okay, so algorithmic management is actually a byproduct of this industrial revolution, because there are no more segmentation or approximation. You have today artificial intelligence, and more than that, big data capturing every part of your. So if your performance is doing X, your data will speak that. And that is actually the algorithmic part. The good part about is that today, since this data is giving you a lot of information, it is very objective and subjectivity is removed, because the data speaks for itself. Yeah. At the same time, the bigger challenge is that there is lack of empathy. Algorithm doesn't have any empathy. And therefore, you have to skew the system a bit and build in that kind of, empathy. So at the end of the day, it is actually everything is done for the good of humankind. All this artificial intelligence, big data is all created by us, the robots are all created by us. It's all going to benefit us. So on top of it is a CEO, an HR specialist who would actually look at the empathy part, and they will jump in and ensure that it is not everything algorithmic, but at the same time, some sort of a human touch is possible. But I feel that at the end of the day, objectivity will be brought in, and therefore, probably it may be benefited. The right kind of mix is required.
Yes, okay, that makes sense. It has some dangers, but we have to be careful and wary of them, and aware of them, and do the right things there. Okay, so my last question to you, as a former military officer, are you concerned about the use of robots and AI in warfare? There was a news 2 days back that China is deploying some kind of robots because we are better than them in mounted warfare. So, I mean, this seems like a dangerous trend. So what are your thoughts on this?
So, use of robots in war is going to be inevitable because technology is providing it, so robots will come. And from the past history, we can see that technology has played a very important role in any war. To take you back, the first battle of Panipat was won by Babur because he used guns against Lodi, Ibrahim Lodi, who used swords and arrows. In fact, World War II came to a culmination because atom bomb was used by USA against Japan. Very bad, unfortunately. In the recent times, you would find Armenia using the drones effectively against Azerbaijan. Interestingly, it is being used by Ukraine in Russia too, and they are making a lot of disruption on the logistics. So, so it's a matter of time when robots will take over, and very difficult jobs. Why should you lose human lives? China has got a valid reason because even the researcher by Australia has said that they've lost many more lives than Indian soldiers. So a well-trained Indian soldier in the last skirmish which happened on the border has been able to prevail over them. So they would certainly use robots. But I feel that India being ahead in the knowledge industry, we can certainly take over. Then I want to take this thing to slightly different way. Recently, not recently, rather probably a couple of years back, we all aware that man against machine, computer in the chess. Deep Blue was the first one to defeat. But now, recently, there was a great chess game between Stockfish and AlphaZero. No, the difference is Stockfish is based on rules. They had a huge library of games, whereas AlphaZero started from scratch. It did based on neural networks, machine learning, and reinforced learning. So with the result, what happened was that it just picked up the game in precisely 4 hours, and in 100 matches, it defeated Stockfish. It started from scratch and it kept learning. Now imagine your robo actually learning while you are on the ground. The machine learning algorithm will make you a superpower, and it can outgun a human being. Let's hope it doesn't happen. But imagine a situation which is outgunning, so getting out of control. Today we have rogue nations, anything can happen. See, another example is the Wuhan virus. Now we all say that it could have been created by human being, and at some point of time, it got out of control and it affected the whole world. So, like again, coming back to what you all know, Harari had mentioned, it is a tricky situation. You need greater global cooperation to ensure that the technology is constantly under check. I hope I answered. Thanks.
Okay, good answer. Okay, thank you. Back to you, Nija, for address the questions from audience.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Korath, for a very insightful session. And when we are looking at the questions also, students do not have much questions. I believe you have covered everything and you have given it like the complete explanation to all the topics that you have covered. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much, Kishore sir, also for joining us for today's session. I hope all of them have loved the session. And yeah, we'll see you all for another episode. Till then, thank you.
Thank you so much for everything. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Nija. Thank you for organizing this.